Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday morning. What's the date today?
29th.
June 29th, 2020. We are here at the 6 a.m. Swingers Club this morning. Kettlebell training. So excited. I have a lot of energy this morning.
It makes fun of us.
Yeah. You know who gets up first, right? I had a great weekend. I hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. It wasn't really a relaxing weekend. We actually did a lot of work, but it just feels so good to get some things done. It was a sunny weekend here in the state of Maine. We are located in the upper northeast corner of the country, of the USA. And today is a rainy day, but you know what? I love rainy days.
Why?
Because it's like a refreshing cleansing, sort of like crying. So don't ever be afraid to cry, because it's like cleansing, and rain is like a cleansing. And we are so dry up here in this part of the country that we really did need a lot of rain.
Farmers will be very happy.
Yeah, the farmers and my flowers and the grass and all that good stuff. But so happy to have all of you here today. We are going to be talking about...
Today we're working on the bent press. I'm sorry, not the bent press. The high windmill. Bent press is tomorrow. Yes, this is the piece in the Turkish get up where you're bent over. It's moving. We're going to do it from a standing position up against the wall. It actually makes it a little bit easier to understand and to do. So, and we have to talk about some things about using the some of the prime movers of the arm as global stabilizers in this process.
So I hope you guys are all awake this morning. If you're not, if you're sitting there still with your coffee and Rick Hamilton, get yourself out of bed. He's a good friend of mine. He's an artist.
The one that watches from bed.
Well, what happens is he confessed that he watches this every morning, but he doesn't actually get up and do the workout. But it's like an alarm clock for him. So hey, whatever. Happy to have all of you here this morning, and it's time to rise and shine. It's time to get ready for our work week. We have a lot of things to do. We have life to live, and we're ready to go.
Well, let's do it.
All right, cool.
Okay, so the high windmill, we went over this. We went over it once before doing the Turkish get up. We went over it during the Turkish get up, and we're going to do it after the Turkish get up. This should let you know that this technique is not one to do incorrectly. You can hurt yourself pretty badly on a lot of kettlebell exercises. I've seen people hurt themselves pretty significantly with this one by not doing it correctly. Now, remember what we said. The vertebrae of your spine have little tiny muscles and joints between them. Those joints should not move at all while you are doing your kettlebell training. You should use your entire spine, splinting each muscle, splinting each joint, muscles, and the connective tissue structure. I've had people come in to work out with me, and they say, "Oh, I don't know, I've had back injuries." And I say, well, tell me about what happens. Oh, I've got 3 fused vertebrae. Well, that's a good thing. That means you'll be perfectly fine, because not a single vertebrae in the back articulates or moves during any of the exercises. So in other words, you could have a spinal fusion from your tailbone to the top of your head, and it's not going to affect your kettlebell training. In fact, it would make it better. Same is true for Tai Chi. So, that being said, we know that from the top of our head to our tailbone, we keep our spine straight during our movement, folding at the hip. When we bend to the side, it's no different. I'm going to turn around so you can see. If I want to bend down and pick up something down at my foot, I'm not going to bend my back. I'm going to use my back and fold at my hip.
So your hip you literally stick your hip out.
That's right. You want to actually, I tell people, imagine you're shutting, you just picked up a bag of groceries and you're going to shut the car door. Boom.
Show them on the other side so they can see.
Or you're this way.
Now,
This way.
yeah.
So Right. So another way you want to think about it is like you're going to hip check somebody into the boards when you're playing hockey, right? You kick your hip over. That's how this motion begins. So if my kettlebell is in my right arm, I'm going to kick my right hip back. I'm going to keep my right leg straight, and I'm going to bend my left. So it looks like this. I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to put it palm facing forward, and it traces down the inside of my thigh and down the outside of my calf. Now, a lot of people will be here. And I'll show you. Now watch this. Right here, my spine is bent. I need to drop this piece so that it's a straight line. Sometimes you can use somebody, use a mirror, have somebody help you take a look at it. Another way to do it is put your hip against the wall. Put your back heel against the wall and your hip against the wall. Whenever the hip is against the wall, put that arm up. Down you go. You can go down until you rest your elbow on your knee. You don't have to go all the way to the ground, but eventually you'll want to. And back up. If you find yourself drifting away from the wall, you're doing it incorrectly. You want to keep your hip touching the wall to do your practice. Well, the wall is just to give you a tactile cue so that your hip is against the wall and touching it. If your hip comes away from the wall, you're doing it incorrectly.
Okay.
So let's give that a try, Kendra. Come on up here. You're going to put your feet a little bit wide.
All right.
Turn them both pointing in the same direction at 45 degrees. So whichever direction your feet are pointing, you're going to take the opposite arm and raise it up over your head. Now you're going to kick your hip over as you drop down. This arm you want straight up in the air. Right. Not bad. Not bad at all. I want you to go down to your elbow. Support yourself, elbow on your knee. Right. Such that if I was to put a little pressure here, it would go directly out your elbow into your knee. There it is.
And down to my heel. I can actually feel that.
Yeah. Correctly, you'll be able to feel this all. And you can, if you've got flexibility, you can bring your hand all the way to the floor. Just try and make sure your hip continues to push over. Yeah. So in yoga, they call it the triangle pose. Very similar, but we're going to do this under load.
The kettlebell up here.
Now try the other side.
So always doing the other side, it always gets me messed up right here. This goes here. This goes up here.
Fire your core. Hip over, try to push your hip out the window. Yeah. You feel this is a nice stretch right here in your low back and in your lat. By lat, I mean latissimus dorsi. Yep. It's actually turn around. Latissimus dorsi. It starts up here, and it's a very large muscle that covers. It's a big sheet of muscle that covers the whole back and the side. Now, okay. So what we're gonna do is this. We learned when we do the Turkish get-up and these different exercises how to stabilize the shoulder, how to seat our shoulder, keep it fired even though it was moving, right? So that the muscles kept it secured even though even though we were moving underneath and changing position. These muscles had to fire, the rotator cuff muscles had to fire in order to keep the arm pointing straight up. Now, we're going to do that very same thing, but we're going to also use our pec, our lat, our trapezius, and our deltoid. All of the muscles of the shoulder, chest, and back have to fire keep that secure. Let me show you what I mean.
I'm gonna dance while he shows you.
So I throw the kettlebell to the rack and I press it overhead. Now I'm gonna reach around and I'm gonna fire my lat, just like when we were doing those one-arm pull-ups. I'm gonna fire my lat, look at the kettlebell, all the way down until my elbow touches my knee. And then keep it fired as I come back up. Here, 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 and around back. All of them clamped down. And then eventually, you want to go down, touch your fingers. Grab a small,
Little baby
a
one?
little baby one. Just so that there's some, you don't need a big kettlebell to do this. Kick the hip back. Nice. This one straight. Yeah. And back up. Fire tight here. Fire in the lat. Fire. Beautiful. Okay. The other side? Sure.
It's cute when this little one.
Elbow.
So my wrists are straight.
Yep. Good. Elbow. Looking up. This way. Yeah, yeah. And back up. Now this technique's going to feel a little awkward at first. Once you understand this technique, it changes how you understand how your body functions. Eugene Sandow, he was an old world strongman, and he used to do this exercise, the bent press. He would use a bar. I'm sorry, the windmill. If you would do the windmill, actually the bent press, which is related. And he'd have a cage, like a bird cage, on either side, with one of his brothers in each one. So that meant that he was doing this exercise with 400 pounds.
Wow.
So in other words, one hand, 400 pounds over your head. This is a very, very powerful exercise if you understand it. Again, it will change the way you understand how to develop power over your body. At first, it just feels very awkward.
Yeah, and it does, you're right. But even from last week of practicing that move and to this week, it feels a little more comfortable to me.
Yeah.
So I'm learning all the basics, like how to see your shoulders, how to move your hips and your hip and have your spine straight the way it's supposed to be. And all of this will help your posture. You know, every day when you're in your everyday work life or home life or whatever, this is going to also develop little muscles in your body to help your posture, which helps your confidence and builds your self-esteem, and it just kind of all works together. Let's take a look and see who's with us today. Craig on Instagram.
Nicolette.
We have Tabitha. And a couple of other people on Instagram. And then we've got Tabitha, my friend David, who is a photographer. So if you're photography work, then David slides. under David on Facebook. We have my friend May and
We have a counter. We know a lot about counters.
yeah, she's awesome. She lives up near where my daughter lives, and I know her little daughter, and she's just a wonderful person. Very inspiring person. So, as all of my friends are, so happy to have all of you here this morning on this Monday morning. So, are we ready to start our kettlebell
We are ready to
workout?
start.
So
Let's do
let's grab your kettlebells and get started. And what will we start with today?
We're going to start, I was thinking with the kettlebell. No, we're going to do our orbits around the body. And we're going to do some hot potato. Just get a little bit of core, get our core warmed up a little bit. Perfect. 2 hands on the kettlebell, bring it up in front of you. All right. And around the body. And 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 other way. And 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10. Bring it up in front of you. 1 hand to the other. 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. By the horns, halos coming all the way around the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change hand position. Bring it down to the bottom, pop it up. Press it overhead. 1 to the bottom. 2. And lock your arms. 3, 4, 5. 5 more. 6, 7, 8, 10. Bring it to the bottom and swing. 1, 10. 1 hand. Switch. Now alternate. To the rack. Very nice. All right, we're going to switch, or rather, we're going to swing to the rack and lunge. So I'm stepping with the opposite foot. Starts with a swing to the rack. Here we go. 1.
I didn't lunge.
Come back. 2, 3.
Using a heavier. Go down. That.
Gotcha. Change hands. Set it down.
So what's cool about today was I was able to go up in some of the moves that we did. I went up to my heavier weight with the uh, wrap. I still have to use my medium weight. I'm not quite there with this weight, but it is getting better. So part of this is being patient with yourself so that you don't get injured.
I like what Ken says. You don't have to think about progression. Think about consistency.
Yeah. Your body's going to, once you do this on a regular basis, your body is going to automatically adjust and change and grow, but you have to be patient. I would love to use the bigger weight. That's how I am. I'm pretty competitive in that way, but it just didn't feel right.
Right.
And I felt like I was straining some other parts of my body. So I checked my ego, put it aside, and went down to the smaller weight for that particular move.
Okay. For this next one, you can use the big weight though. We're going to do the low windmill, then you'll use the smaller weight for the high windmill.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we're going to review the low windmill. Put the kettlebell at 1 foot. Turn your feet in that direction, so it's going to be basically inside your feet. Take the hand that's closest, it goes on the inside of the thigh. This hand put on your hip. You're going to kick that hip back as you lower yourself down until you can grab the handle of the kettlebell. Now you're going to pull yourself down a little lower to get a good stretch. Come back up until your arm straightens. Seat your shoulder, tighten your core, and push the hip over to lift. And down. And up. 2. Bring it down. Turn forward, sit your hip back, slide the kettlebell over. Back up. Turn the other direction, 45 degrees. Hand on the inside of the thigh, other hand on your hip. Kick your hip back, reaching down until you grab the bell. Use it as a handle on the ground. Pull yourself further, stretching out your low back, hamstring. Back up till your arm is straight. Seat your shoulder, tighten your core, push the hip forward to lift. Push it back to lower it down. And up. 2, 3. Kicking your hip back. 4. 5. Set it down. Okay. You might want to go to your lower weight this time. Okay. Put the kettlebell in your left arm. Swing it to the rack. Press your left arm overhead. Turn your feet 45 degrees away. Right hand to the inside of the thigh. Now, you're going to kick your hip back and you're going to look up. Lower yourself down until your elbow is at your knee. Push your hip back across and raise it. So your shoulders are level. Down. And up. 2. If you'd like to go lower, you may. 3. Pull it in. Feet to the front. Swing and change hands. Press it overhead. Turn your feet away. Hand on the inside of the thigh. Kick the head back, look up at the kettlebell. Lower until your elbow reaches your knee. And back. Again. 2. Keep your lat fired. Now lower if you can. 3. 4. Nicely done.
Oh, that was a lot harder with a kettlebell in my hand.
Yes.
And so what I noticed by doing that is I really had to make sure that my shoulder was seated to gain stability.
Yep.
So that this wasn't moving around.
Exactly.
So if you try it with a particular kettlebell and you're still not able to keep it stable, go down one notch to a smaller kettlebell so that you can gain that strength and that stability.
Once you exactly, and actually, once you gain a little bit of proprioception, a little bit of feeling of where your body is in space, so that you have some understanding of the exercise, then going up in weight raises the consequences to screwing it up. So what happens is it makes you pay attention. So some people suffer from going with too much weight. Some people suffer from going with not enough weight. Start with a small weight. But very quickly try to work your way up to the weight that you normally will use, because it will force you to do it right.
Now, the other thing is these types of exercises, like along with a lot of things like yoga, will help you stay present. You have to stay present in your moment. You have to stay present in order to pay attention to what your body is doing, where the kettlebell is. So it's a great mindfulness technique on how to be present in your day, and you can practice that feeling throughout your day once you've got it down with these particular workouts.
Nothing will put you present more than putting a cannonball.
Right.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do the snatch. We're going to bring the kettlebell all the way up, and we're going to do these for a little while. We're going to do maybe 40. All right, so feet on either side of the bell. Fold at the hips, thumb back. Grab the bell in one hand. Stand up. Get it moving a little bit. We're going to snatch it all the way overhead. 5 of them on each side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change hands. 1, 2, 3, change hands. Change hands. 2, that's 20 of them. Change hands. Switch. 1, 2, 10 more. Switching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Changing. 4. Hold it. Sit there. Nicely done.
Cool.
Nicely done, folks.
Wow.
All right, bench press. That'll be what tomorrow's exercise is. Probably the hardest, most complicated one we do. But you're prepared. You're 80, 90% of the way there.
Now, for those of you who are joining us new today, you can go to Sensei David Hill's Way the Kettlebell YouTube and look at some of the videos that we've done in the previous weeks that shows you some of the basics, like how to get up to doing this, what we just did. So you're going to want to do that before trying that whole workout. We will be here. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. We so appreciate your support. And I hope that you're learning something and getting something out of this. If you know of anybody who would love to try the kettlebell workout, or just, would like to forward this on to someone who needs it, please do so. We will see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Sending love, peace, joy, and happiness to all of you in the world who need it today. Hope you have a fabulous Monday.
Early tomorrow.
Setting our intentions for a beautiful day. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys.